Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, XRP, Sigma, and some structures playing out for potential forward movement. So, all right, so looking here at Bitcoin, we had what could have been a five-wave move off the lows for an ABC up, but then we came back down and then actually now have cleared the new high. So there was a potential that this was a triangle, and that has now since been invalidated to the downside. So there is still an expectation that we may go lower, but there is a chance that this portion right here could be the fourth wave into the fifth. So we would have a larger 1, 2, and then instead of this being the whole thing as being 3, I believe I measured this out, and we have a potential that this length of the leg is just as long as wave 1, and this could be the completion of the fifth wave, and we're actually done with this. So expect another leg lower. But this is a chance that this is possibly the count going down this direction for what we were looking for. So this is the main idea, is this idea of one more rollover. But the fact that this broke out into a new high is already starting to either confirm that this is a larger wave 4 that's going to take a longer time, and maybe we have a shallow fifth, or this is already in a breakout mode as it's moving its way back up again. So now, next thing we're going to do is we were going to make the assumption that this move right here was a completion of an ABC up, and we can kind of see it as an ABC, or we can, which would be something along these lines, or it can also be inferred as a, so there would be your ABC, pretty consistent looking, right? Equal measured moves, all those things, versus we would maybe be trying to fit a 5-wave move off the lows for this one. And we would maybe have that as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's your fifth wave potential right there without those crossing. So this is kind of in the camp of either one. This right here we know is very clear ABC down, right? So we've got 5 waves. ABC is kind of now for the bullish case. So in order to validate this move, we do our measured move of wave 1, wave 2, and we want to see Bitcoin break above 97,026. That 97,026 line happens to equally measure right here at this fib, and this fib on the larger time frame is the 0.5 fib of the entire range going from here. So this is a hugely confluence area where we have a larger macro fib that is from the range itself, along with an equal measured move of everything. So this is going to probably be a high level of fight. So 97,026 for Bitcoin is now the new target to watch to see if we reject and roll over for one more breakdown, or do we continue through, start clearing stuff up here in the 106 and get up to some moving averages in the 109s. That's going to be really telling on whether or not we're impulsing out of here. So this is the next big battle for Bitcoin. So jumping over to XRP now, we had a zoomed out view. You just kind of had this bam right off the lows, and so we were talking about this breakdown, and we had kind of mentioned that within a day it will probably be back to where it was before, and sure enough, we did. We just bounced right back up. So but in doing so, we ended up closing half the gap down here, which is fine. Okay, so half of that gap got moved, but we ended up creating this gap, and neither of them technically went and got filled on either the up or the down or the up again. So I've seen this behavior before for XRP, and we had our 5-wave move off the lows, a flat structure that came in, perfectly hitting the 618, very technical, which is awesome. So this guy is now gone, and this guy's now gone, and this guy's now gone. That was over here. So all those downside moves, I think, basically show that we're finished on this. So now moving forward to what this structure could play out as, the idea would be that we would see this as an ABC up. So this would be a 5-wave move, and we could actually still do another ABC move to the upside, and then potentially one more 5-wave move down, reclosing this gap before we get out of here. So this is just something, this is a theory as to what a price action could look like moving forward to complete a 5-3-5. So rather than seeing this as a flat structure here, we would instead look at this more as a 5-wave move to the downside with a wave 1 triangle completion over here, and then we would go up for a wave 2 and then down for a 3, 4, and a 5. A little strange looking, longer, kind of like a flat view, but that would be the idea of it. And we've done this kind of setup here before, and it's not showing right there. There it is. Okay, so the setup here before was right here. So we did 5-wave moves off the high, and then we did a 5-wave move down, an ABC up, and another 5-wave move down, filling the gap that we had left open right here. So this would basically, when we flash back, would be something along this lines where we would get way up into the supply, negating the breakdown, and then doing one more back test to finish closing this view, which you can see this -1 deviation would play out right to that level by the time we get there. So kind of move up, can't sustain it, one more impulsive wave down. We got ourselves an A, B, C for a wave 2. So this would be a wave 1, and this would be your wave 2 completion, and then we would move onward and upward, and that would check with kind of how this price action played here going forward back in the day. So yes, this is just something to keep in mind for. This is kind of how I'm anticipating it, but anything down in these levels at this point is for buying. So if we're getting back down here, just, yeah, go for it. So that's how I'm looking at it. Not financial advice, but, you know, kind of financial advice. So the Sigma coin is also doing well. So we had a higher low, massively set, huge capitulation move, took it all back. Some selling pressure came in. Now we're getting some buying pressure come back in again. RSI's on the 12-hour bouncing higher, and we've got ourselves a 3-day getting ready to cross back up to the upside. So momentum starting to shift back to the upside again. I think people are who are here are locked in and ready, but it's going to take a little bit of convincing for people after all this kind of mess around for them to think that this is probably going to be okay to move forward. And this is kind of my main case right here, that another revisit of these 210s is a gift ultimately, if we get it to close this triple gap level here. And again, this guy may not ever be met down here at the lows. So, all right, so hopefully that's helpful. And it will be part of the process, just kind of grinding out of here. And this would be a completion of wave 2. And then we can move upwards for wave 3, 4, and 5, getting us back up into the $3 range before we find resistance up here at this level and have to then come back and revisit these areas here. So, all right, now we also, alternatively, one more view, we may just break out and then have to come back and do an ABC down to this level. But I think this is more likely based off of just the past performance of how XRP has performed back in the day. So hopefully that was helpful, and we'll check in tomorrow.